Hello everyone, thank you for joining. Thank you to those who are joining us in consciousness, and hello to those of you who are listening to the recording. As always, it's a real blessing to be here with you. Today I'll be reading an extract from The Young Man and the Old Man, written by Vic Smith, and discussing how the extract that I read exemplifies a key principle in the infinite way. Vic was heavily inspired by Joel Goldsmith's teachings when he wrote this book, which is a metaphysical story based on spiritual truth. I recorded the audiobook of The Young Man and the Old Man, and both the ebook and the audio are available on Amazon, and the links are in the description. But before we get into today's live stream, I'd like us to begin by sharing a brief meditation. Hi Glorian, thank you for being here. So I invite you to close your eyes with me now and just be still for a few moments. At the end of the meditation, I'll say thank you, and then we'll start with the reading. Okay, let's be still. Thank you. Hi Asad, thank you so much for joining. I'm very well, thank you. It's lovely to be here with you. If you have any questions or comments as I'm going through, please feel free to ask and share. I'm going to read you an extract from The Young Man and the Old Man, as I've just said. And the excerpt that I've chosen to share today is taken from chapter 8. Now, we've reached the point in the story where the old man is taking the young man to meet a character who's very strange. This character is a man who is no longer able to discern reality and has become hypnotized by his own thoughts. So let me read it to you. As I say, this is the beginning of chapter 8 in The Young Man and the Old Man. As the old man led the young man through the forest, he told him this story. I am taking you to see a strange sight, young man. Maybe you have heard about it. There is a poor farmer in the country here who has a son. One day, the son had some sort of accident and was asleep for many days. The son eventually woke up and regained his strength, but was never the same as he was before. People call him the Disillusioned Man. Oh yes, I have heard about him. There he is, young man. There was the Disillusioned Man up in a tree. As the old man and the young man approached, the Disillusioned Man yelled, "Get up in the tree, fools! The floodwaters are coming! Get up in the tree and save yourselves from the great flood." Young man asked old man, "What is he talking about?" Old man answered, "Ask him." Young man asked Disillusioned Man, "What are you talking about?" Disillusioned Man answered, "Can't you see the waters rising? They are above your knees now, and still rising. Climb up in the tree, you fools. Save yourselves. Young man said to old man, there are no waters here. Tell him that, old man replied. Young man told Disillusioned Man, you are disillusioned. There are no waters here. Come down, the ground is dry. Disillusioned Man answered, aha, you are trying to tell me that the water that I see is not there. You can't fool me. You are the bad one of the great flood. I know your tricks, bad one. One told me to climb up this tree to save myself from the great flood. Do you think you can tell me different? Do you think that you can trick me so that I, the last survivor of the great flood, will also be destroyed? Get thee behind me, bad one. You too shall be destroyed by one. Old man said to young man, convince him that you know the truth, and what he sees is an illusion, young man. Young man replied to old man, I think it would be pointless. He believes that his illusion is real. He even thinks that I am the bad one of the land of the dead. What do you think we should do? Old man asked. Can't you mend him? Young man replied. I can only mend if the person comes to me and asks, for they must have a belief in their hearts that I can mend them. I hope that brought a smile to your face. Any thoughts or comments, or would anyone simply like to say hello at this point? Of course, what Vic Smith, the author of this book, is depicting in his humorous way is the reality of all of us when we become absorbed in the imaginings of the human picture. Glorian's smiling. The imaginings of the human picture, or as Joel calls it, carnal mind. Joel Goldsmith talks at length in his many classes and books about the need for us to see through the world our senses present to us in order to discern the spiritual reality where those mental images appear. Hello, Sandy. Thank you for joining. It's a lovely story, yeah, written by Vic Smith. So I'm going to read you an extract from a chapter in the book that Joel is most well known for, and that is The Infinite Way. And I think most of those with me now will be familiar with The Infinite Way. But for those of you who are completely new to Joel Goldsmith's work, this is an old version of The Infinite Way. As you can see, it's a small book, but it was his seminal book, and it underpins the whole of his teachings. And in fact, chapter 11, which is called The New Horizon, oh, thank you for the love, Asad. So the chapter 11 is one of the recommended chapters that Joel Goldsmith suggests students contemplate in depth. And I'll just mention here that Glorian and I host a monthly book study group on the 8 important chapters Joel recommended, which are all in here. Oh, Asad, bless you. These are where the 8 important chapters are. This book, A New Horizon. And you're very welcome to join Glorian and I for those Zoom meetings. The links are in the description. You don't have to have the books, and there's no charge, and you don't even need to know anything about the Infinite Way teachings. All are welcome. So to give you some context, before I read the quote in his book, The Infinite Way, Joel's been guiding us throughout the whole book of The Infinite Way. He's been guiding us to perceive that the world we see through our senses, which appears to be very real, solid, and static, is in fact completely illusory. and he likens it to a mirage. So instead, he's encouraging us to look inwards and become aware of our spiritual identity, our consciousness, that which constitutes our entire experience. Hello, Ben. Thank you for joining. So by the time we reach the new horizon in the infinite way, which, as I say, is chapter 11, Joel's taken us to that ultimate step of no longer living from a place of being wholly absorbed in the world of thought appearances, but instead learning to rest continuously in the awareness of our invisible self. And the liberty of living this way he shares here. So I'm actually going to read this extract from the New Horizon. And Joel says, "We are not bound by the evidence of the physical senses. We are not limited to the visible supply. We are not circumscribed by visible bonds or bounds. We are not tied by visible concepts of time or space. Our good is flowing from the infinite invisible realm of spirit, soul, to our immediate apprehension. Let us not judge our good by any so-called sensible evidence. Out of the tremendous resources of our soul comes the instant awareness of all that we can utilize for abundant living. No good is withheld from us as we look above the physical evidence to the great invisible. Look up, look up. The kingdom of heaven is at hand." So we look up, we look within, and we see through the perception of self, ourself. And this is precisely the lesson the old man in Vic's Smith story is teaching his young protege. Does anyone have any questions or comments or anything they'd like to share? Oh, Gloria, and bless you. Thank you too. Thank you so much for being here. If you're watching the recording, please also feel free to share any thoughts or comments. Well, that's a profound truth that I'm sharing with you today. So if there are no more comments, I'm going to conclude it there and leave you to contemplate what I've shared. In which case, let's conclude with another short meditation. So I invite you to contemplate as you, oh Ben, yes, all is mind indeed. And exactly, we can take that into our final meditation. As you close your eyes, the vast darkness there within your being, all is mind, as Ben's just said, and then just rest in that. At the end of the meditation, I'll say thank you, and then we'll leave in silence. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Let's be still. Thank you. Thank you.